Hey everybody, this is me, Roger Aladdin Daltrey, and I'm doing a tribute video today for a very talented musician who left us 1 year ago today, and that being, of course, Leonard Cohen, who died on the 7th of November 2016, and today is November 7th, 2017. So as a tribute video, I thought we would do a Leonard Cohen discography review, and so I'm going to do it for you. Now, just like Lou Reed and Yes, I had the CDs here to show you, but unfortunately with Leonard, those albums actually belong to my dad, so I can't have to, but I can still tell you about them anyway. Okay, so this video was dedicated to my dad, of course, who is a big fan of Leonard Cohen, and it's also dedicated to my aunt, who says that Leonard Cohen is her favourite artist of all time, and has also said that if there was any two people she would meet, it would be him and tennis player Roger Federer. But of course, even though they say never meet your heroes, unless they weren't nice people. But anyway, so here we go, and I would also love your thoughts on the whole Leonard Cohen discography, if you can, in the comment section below. Okay, so here we go. 1967, Songs of Leonard Cohen. Absolutely my favourite Leonard Cohen album from his early career. And my favourite song on that is Suzanne, and possibly my favourite Leonard Cohen song. And it's also a similar title of I Love You Suzanne by Lou Reed from the New Sensations record, which I had reviewed for you. And New Sensations is even a song title for In Excess, which is the second track from the Kick record, which came out in 1987. And this year is the 3rd anniversary for it. Like they did, I think they brought out a 30th deluxe anniversary of that, like they did with U2's The Joshua Tree. And as for U2, they're actually bringing out the new U2 record in the end, Songs of Experience, which was the one they cancelled because of Trump being the United States president. But anyway, so Suzanne is my favourite track on Songs of Leonard Cohen, and I would give that album a 10 out of 10. It's a great debut album. Now, in case some of you are aware, I didn't mention my least favourite track on these records because I don't think there is a least favourite track on any of these Leonard albums to me. But whatever. He followed that up in 1969 with Songs from a Room. My favourite song on that is Lady Midnight. However, I do think it is a much weaker album. However, it does have Burn on the Wire, which we all like. But for me, I like the live version much more. But I don't mind the studio version. It's very good. It's just, usually the hit singles wouldn't necessarily be my favourite track on the record, but most of the time they are. It's just for this one, I prefer Lady Midnight. And yeah, so overall, I'm going to have to give the album a 7 out of 10. There's not many songs on that album that I like, but I don't hate them either. Okay, 1971, Songs of Love and Hate. I really liked it at the time, and I thought it had a good variety of music on that when I heard it in the last few years. My favourite song on that is Avalanche, because I really love the guitar playing that Leonard did. I just like it. It's very unique. That's the thing, when I think of those guitar players like Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, Chuck Berry, Brian May of Queen, all those people, is that their guitar playing is so unique. Like, I think, like, if you hear, like, maybe, like, let's say you hear a Queen song, for instance, like, let's say Bohemian Rhapsody, you can just tell that the guitar playing is Brian May. Because to me, Brian May is just amazing. An amazing guitar player. And apart from Pete Townsend and the Kiss guitar players, Brian May was the first guitar player that I ever knew. So maybe he kind of got an idea to use Leonard's idea with Leonard doing that to make his own unique sound. And the album, of course, has a Joan of Arc, which I think is good, and I heard that Jennifer Warnes did a cover of that from her on her album Famous Blue Raincoat, which is an album chock full of Leonard Cohen covers. And even on Joan of Arc, Leonard appears as a guest musician, which is very cool. And yeah, there's a lot of good tunes on here. Famous Blue Raincoat is good too. And that's the name of the album title for a Jennifer Warnes. So as I said, Avalanche is my favourite song on that. And overall, I'm going to give that whole album a 9 out of 10. Which is very amazing. 1974, New Skin for the Old Ceremony. And my favourite song on that is The Chelsea Hotel, which was basically a tribute to the late Janis Joplin, who had died 4 years ago, before 1974 came out. And she died on the 4th of October 1970, and that was actually 3 days after Aerosmith was formed. But when Aerosmith was formed there in 1970, it had everyone apart from Brad Whitford, because he didn't join the band till like 1971. And when Leonard was in live concerts, he would say something about before introducing Chelsea Hotel, he would say something like he was talking about Chris Christopherson, the country star, and then he was like, "I'm Chris Christopherson." That's pretty cool. I like There Is a War. That's a really good song. I like the live version much more though on Cohen Live, but the studio version is not bad either. And Who by Fire is one of those Leonard Cohen songs that everyone loves. And I don't. Well, you see, I get half of it, but then I don't get the other half of it. It's obviously good music, but as far as the singing goes, I don't think it's a good vocal performance. It just has really grown on me. Like it was really grown on me. It was Who by Fire has never been one of my favorite Leonard Cohen songs. But of course, I don't hate it or anything. I don't hate any Leonard song, apart from 2. There is only 2 songs in Leonard Cohen's career that I absolutely cannot stand. Which ones are they? You have to wait and see. Okay. So Chelsea Hotel is my favorite track on that, as I said, and overall, I'm gonna have to give the album a 8 out of 10, which is not bad. It's really good. So it's a good score. Okay, 1977, Death of a Ladies' Man. This album came out 3 years later, and it was produced by Phil Spector, who of course had the album Back to Mono, which is number 65 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time, which is in the middle between Moondance by Van Morrison and Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones. And he produced this record, and this is when Leonard started to experiment, which was really good. I liked that there was some use of drum sounding in there. And my favourite song on that would be Iodine, because I love the drum sounding. And Iodine has always been one of my favourite Leonard Cohen songs. Second though would be Don't Go Home With Your Heart On, which reminds me a lot of the songs that are on one of the later studio albums. I think it would have fit perfectly on one of them. But otherwise, It's Fine Here. And it was brilliant. And I love Paperton Hotel as well. But overall, it's a fine going album. I wouldn't say it's one of the better ones. So overall, I would have to give the album a 7 out of 10. But some good songs on that. Hold on, I just need to cough. Okay, sorry. Right. 1979. Recent Songs. And that was actually the first time I don't know what happened. I think I listened to some of the songs the first time and I was like, oh my god, some of them are bad. That's the thing. One of these Leonard Cohen songs that are on this song, that's on this album, is one of the songs that I absolutely do not stand. I'll tell you which one it is after I tell you some of them. Okay, and my favourite song on that is Be Guests. I think it's a very good tune. I liked the humour of the music playing, and because Leonard is always known as this serious poet, so I thought that was good of him to show his humour. And I like Humbled in Love. That's a really good tune. But there's some other tracks on that don't really do anything for me. And I would hear the song The Window. I would hear probably The Window being played on a stereo. Even back then when I was a huge Leonard fan, I was like, oh my god, I hate that song. That's actually one of the two Leonard Cohen songs that I absolutely hate. And I hate the violin sounding in that song. It's just, it was really grown on me. But I do like, of course, I also do like Our Lady of Solitude. And in fact, Garth Hudson from the band does the Hammond organ on that album, which is very cool. And I love the Ballad of the Absent Mayor as well. And, you know, because as I said, Leonard is known as a serious poet, so I thought that was good of him to show his humour. But a lot of the other songs on there, like The Lost Canadian and The Gypsy's Wife, and they're just bad. The lyrics, I thought the lyrics were bad, and I would give that album a 5 out of 10. Okay. 1984, various positions. Now we're getting better. However, Leonard's voice started to deepen a little bit. So there's some good moments on here. My favourite song on that album is Hallelujah. Basically, the one Leonard Cohen song that everybody knows and everyone loves. And it's so amazing. It was even played in the Shrek film. Because as I said before, guys, Shrek for me is number 3, Homer number 2, and then number 1, of course, Aladdin, because Aladdin is the man. And also, I do think Leonard is the man too, but as far as cartoon characters go, it's Aladdin, and possibly the man of everything. Because to me, I call Aladdin the Eye of God, and I even refer to him as God. And I like some other tunes on here. I think Dance Me to the End of Love is a very appropriate song to open the album with, and even opening in live concerts too. And I like Heart with No Companion. That's I do find Heart with No Companion better on the live version, but the studio version I don't mind either. And If It Be Your Will is a bit boring. I don't think it's one of his best songs, but I will say it's one of his better vocals. I won't take that away from anyone. Wait, one sec. Sorry. Okay, so I don't think If It Be Your Will is bad. It's just it hasn't been one of my favorite songs of his. The Law is pretty good too. I like the whole album basically. I know it didn't do well in the US, but I've never said that I never ever cared for it, because I've always loved it. And last few years I've really loved it, and I think it's one of his best. I'd give that album a 9 out of 10. 1988, I'm Your Man. Absolutely my favourite Leonard Cohen album during this time. Many great songs on that. I think my favourite would probably be Ain't No Cure for Love. But I do like some of the other tunes, like Tower of Song, and also it mentions Hank Williams, the famous country star, which I thought was a nice tribute to Hank Williams, because I think Leonard was a fan of Hank Williams, and also Leonard was a big fan of Bob Dylan too. And I like First We Take Manhattan. Everybody Knows is amazing. I like the live version a lot. And back in the past, I could never get into Jazz Police, but now in retrospect, I have grown to appreciate it, because I think it's very humorous. I'm like, that song is so good. Take the Spalter is okay, but I absolutely love I Can't Forget. That would be a close second on the album for me. And it's actually very special for my dad and my aunt, because the very first time they saw Leonard Cohen live was the I'm Your Man tour. So that's pretty amazing. So for me, for giving that a rating, I'm definitely giving it a 10 out of 10. Okay. 1992. The Future. Possibly my dad's favourite Leonard Cohen album. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is, because that's what I think he told me. Again, other great tunes on there. I think my favourite would probably be Anthem. Because I remember one time I was down on Grafton Street in Dublin one day, and I remember seeing the members of U2, and The Edge, the guitar player, quoted a line from Anthem, like Bono quoted a line from Bob Dylan's Visions of Johanna from Blonde on Blonde, and Adam Clayton, the bass player, quoted an Arctic Monkeys song. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was one that said, "There's a great band out there." And then the drummer Larry Mullen Jr. quoted the opening line of the Ramones' Rockaway Beach from Rocket to Russia with the 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's always Dee Ramone, the bass player, who says that, because I think he's the other main singer in the Ramones, besides Joey. So yeah, I love Democracy, I love Waiting for the Future, and Waiting for the Miracle, sorry, I love the Future as well, and I love Be For Real and Closing Time. And Billy Joel had covered the song Light as the Breeze. And then the rest of the record, the last two tracks are pretty average, but I can still listen to them whenever I want, but the first 7 tracks are amazing. So overall, I'd give that album a 10 out of 10. So then he took a break from music and didn't come back until 2001 with 10 new songs. Possibly I think that was the album that got me into Leonard Cohen. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. My favourite song on that is That Don't Make It Junk, with a close second being Boogie Street. And I like In My Secret Life too. One sec. Sorry. Yeah, and this album, of course, has my aunt's favourite Leonard Cohen song of all time, Alexandra Leaving. And I was like, oh my god, I'm telling you, that song is so good. Because I actually love that song too. It's very relaxing. And I find his vocal amazing on that. I think the one track that kind of annoys me on that is The Land of Plenty. But I don't think it's bad. And I also do like A Thousand Kisses Deep. Here It Is good, and I even love Love Itself. And I absolutely love By the River's Dark, because I love the bum, 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 bum at the start. I just think, yeah, it's brilliant. I give that whole record a 10 out of 10, obviously. See, that's the thing. I like Leonard's. I like Leonard. I like the later Leonard Cohen albums. Like, for example, I like the later. Sorry. I like the later Beatles records, starting with, I think, Revolver or Rubber Soul. And I also love the later records by Pink Floyd, starting from Metal. Because those two artists, their early career was good, but I prefer their later stuff when they became very successful and became even more awesome than they already were. Okay, 2004, Dear Heather. Once again, when that came out, I liked it. I really liked it at the time, but there's a couple of tracks that don't really do anything for me, like The Faith. I could never get into The Faith, but I do find the vocals amazing, but the music itself kind of bores me. But my favourite song on that is Go No More A Roving. Absolutely one of my favourite Leonard Cohen songs. And I do like Because Of. And I like Leonard Cohen's vocal on that, so he's more like, because of a few songs, where I spoke up the mystery. Basically, he was very old there to where he was back in maybe the early 70s. And I do like the letters. And On That Day is brilliant as well. I do like Undertow, as it's also a song title of Genesis from the 1978 record, And Then There Were Three, which to me is one of the greatest records of all time. And in fact, Mike Rutherford was even stated, well, the first question someone in America said to me was, so, why is the album called Then There Were Three? Because there was 3 members, because Steve Hackett left. And yeah, it's a good album overall, but kind of near the bottom of the pack in my opinion. So overall, I'm going to have to give the album a 6 out of 10. But some good songs on that. Now, these last 3 Leonard Cohen albums were released in what I consider the darkest school years of my life. So, for example, 2012, Old Ideas. It was released when I was in 6th class, as that was my final primary school year. And once again, when that album came out, I really liked it. And my favourite song on that is Going Home. And I absolutely love the opening lines. He goes, I love to speak with Leonard. He's a sportsman and a shepherd. He's a lazy bastard living in a shoot. Basically, that was one of the funniest moments ever, I think. I love Amen, and I would have to actually no. Going Home is my favourite track on that. My favourite song on that album is actually Darkness, because I love the bum 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 bum. I just love the music to it. I even played it on my uncle's iPad once, and I think I like Darkness a lot because it's also a song titled by Aerosmith from which is the closing track from Done With Mirrors. From the Done With Mirrors album with the hit single Let the Music Do the Talking. And I like different sides because I love the organ playing and I love the drums going. I really do like that. Loads of great tunes on there. Overall, I'd give the album an 8 out of 10. And then then he did a tour for that, and then he stopped touring because he then had some back difficulties, and his health was getting worse. So 2014, Popular Problems, released when I was in 3rd year, which was a really dark school year for me. And once again, when that album came out, I really liked it, but there were some songs that didn't do anything for me on there. Especially Did I Ever Frickin' Love You. I mean, what the frick was he doing when he thought of that song? Basically, The Window and Did I Ever Love You are the 2 Leonard Cohen songs that I absolutely hate. But I love the rest of the album, though. I love the rest of the songs in this album. I love Slow, that's a very good tune. I like Almost Like the Blues. But my favourite song on that album is A Street. And I do like You Got Me Singing. And Nevermind is brilliant because it's also an album titled by Nirvana, which is one of the best-selling albums of all time. And it's in the top 20 Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums of all time as well. So overall, I'm going to give that album a 7 out of 10 because of Did I Ever Frickin' Love You. If that song was taken off the record, I would have given it a 9. I would have given the whole album a 9. And least but not last, 2016's You Want It Darker, which I'm sure had affected you when you were listening to it. And my favourite song on that is the title song You Want It Darker, and a close second of being It Seemed the Better Way. And lately in the past, I've been playing that album a lot. And basically, I'd be saying that I've been saying that it's the best Leonard Cohen CD. And basically, when my internet gets plugged out at night, when I'm still in the middle of watching something, I always put it on earphones and I look at a picture from the Aladdin episode, Raiders of the Lost Shark on the TV series. Because as I said, its TV show of the same title is my favourite TV show of all time. And I think it's the best TV show ever. And You Want It Darker is one of the best albums ever. Very haunting in my opinion. And I like On the Level. It's also a status quo record too, with the big hit single Down Down. And I like Treaty, that's very good. Travelling Light is amazing. In fact, there's even a video of unseen footage from Leonard's whole career. And String Reprise Treaty, to me, is a great way to end his career. And I liked the fact that it was instrumental until he quoted the last few lines. So, yeah, so overall, I'm giving the album a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's it. That's my Leonard Cohen discography review. And now, just as a final tribute, I thought I would just say to Leonard, I just want to say a few tributes for him. He was an absolute legend, so he was. I thought he was the greatest poet I ever knew. And whenever he was around, he always put people in a good mood. That's just the type of person he was. I have so many memories of him, and whenever I look back at him, there's always a smile on my face. It's just one thing that Leonard never failed to do was put a smile on my face. And I just cannot believe that it's been a year already since he left us. So whether you like it or not, I'm going to just call out the final lines of his whole career. Okay. I wish there was a treaty we could sign. It's over now, the water and the wine. We were broken in, but now we're borderland. And I wish there was a treaty. I wish there was a treaty between your love and mine. Okay. Thank you, Leonard. You really made my life feel great with your music. And I also want to say that you were one artist that has never let me down before, except for those 2 songs that I absolutely hate. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on Leonard Cohen's discography. And I would love your thoughts on his discography. Were you, if you don't like Leonard Cohen, were you ever a fan? I just want to know. And if you don't like Leonard Cohen, I respect your opinion, but if you do like him, I feel happy for you. And so, it's just that I was really affected when Leonard Cohen had died, and I just cannot believe it's been a year already. So this was just a tribute video in honor of Leonard Cohen, because I was so upset when I heard about his death. Thank you, Leonard. We love you. Stay safe. And keep on smiling.